right, well, here we are again. Go ahead and ditch the keyboard there. Uh, so we're on to the next day. I'm feeling a little bit better. I had a hard sleep, one of those sick sleeps, where you got cotton mouth and you feel dehydrated and just woozy. Um, but on to the next page. We are now going to be doing capitals. So again, I'm going to use the old Safari here. Just going to continue with that, play with the blue ink. Maybe I'll learn to like blue ink eventually. Again, personal preference. Got my paper at an angle, maybe a little too radical of an angle somewhere in there. Got my feet on I'll use a drafting stool. Got my feet on the bar of the drafting stool. Um, do read these. Do read these. These are important points, and they really do give you an insight, I think is the word I've been looking for, more than advice. And on we go. We should do this in about 15 minutes. The D, the G, we're doing all uppercase today. Another one of those. Now this one, if you notice, is more really a circle as opposed to we've been doing the oval so much. Here again, we've got a couple of options on the Q. Oops, not so good there. Now they don't really. That's not really very descriptive, is it? Which is unfortunate. But I think it's a matter of a single or double stroke. Oof, oh boy. I am all over the place today, guys. Look at that. D. Put a C there. Again, I came in unfocused, as you can see. My mind's full of stuff, but sometimes the writing helps. So just get back to writing. It's sort of a meditation, like where they say, if your mind feels. Now, see what I did there? I did a kind of a classic one of those, but that's not the letter we're working on. But like other forms of meditation, you'll break concentration and your mind will drift. And the trick is to just um, observe that's happened and move on. What if I start from here for fun? I wish they would describe that a little bit more. You know what? I am going to write them. I am going to write them. So I'll tell you what. My apologies. I am going to grab a piece of paper and jot a note. Now, jotting is, different handwriting. They'll discuss that even. Uh, Page 18. Uh, Now, this is kind of um, not a Bristol board really, but cardstock, and it does feather a little bit. It does the ink sitting on the surface. Again, my inexpert use causes some of that. So I will go ahead and write those guys and see what they say about the alternatives there. I'll take care of that. Let's see, it's Sunday. I'll take care of that on Monday. Oof, doing terrible today. Okay, interesting on the M. Notice it's a two-stroke system. It's not up down up down. It's downstroke and then complete. Wow. Let's do that again, shall we? Again, I'm just rebuilding. I'm in a rebuilding season. The W, however, isn't. Why? I don't really know. Interesting. These letters are wider than they are tall. Well, I know one I'm going to work on. Guess I'll write mom. Literally and figuratively. All right. Woof. Not so good. As you can tell, I think I'm still sick. But For the sake of consistency, I'm going to move on. I'm not miserable, but my performance isn't there today. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the time. I know I have said, perfect practice makes perfect. Don't practice your mistakes, which is true. And I think I just have to be a little extra diligent with the concentration. But one thing I'm practicing is consistency right now. I fell off about 8 months ago, and it has been a summer where I have been taking care of everybody else's needs. And there's just been chaos, and I haven't been taking care of myself at all and doing the things that I want to do. Um, so that's what part of this is. That's practicing that consistency because I just get inconsistent and get pulled in different directions, like we all do, I suppose. So I can take time. Now, notice my widths are kind of strange. About 4/5 as wide as they are tall, so 80%. So there's all kinds of things to practice. And right now, while I do want to execute well, that means I have to, one, execute, to show up. But the other thing is also forgive myself my mistakes, or if I'm just not performing well that day, doesn't mean I have to completely abandon practice. It just means I want to be a little more mindful. Now, it is pretty interesting that the N is a 3-stroke, even though the M is a 2-stroke. Now, here they give you the options. There's the vertical first and the crossbar second, or the other way around. I have found, and this is a retrace, I believe. Notice that there's only one, so that tells me it's a retrace. Now, from the lowercase, I just naturally went to continuing the theory. I think it sets the width better. It seems kind of alien. Ooh, see, down there, sizing is off. Stretch out the hands. Stretch out the hands. But I don't know if it's, I don't necessarily want to say it's the older I get, it's because of anything to do with my age, but I am into simplification. I think in past years, you know, there's make it fancy, complexity somehow says something, I don't know, value, but it's not true. It's like, but I don't feel that way. Simpler economy of um, resources, economy of thinking is all part of it. And so just keeping things simpler so I don't have to duplicate efforts too much, which is like we'll see with the move from italic to italic at the theater, italic to cursive, to italic print to italic cursive. We're not going to reinvent the letters. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. And I think it's the same thing with stuff like the cross strokes and all that. Now, Y is kind of an interesting one where boop, boop, boop. You kind of make that angle turn. Now, I'm doing it a little above the center line, which is not how they're doing it. And it's really tough for me not to put the serif on the Z. I'm not sure if I'll ever let that go. I granted maybe it's a little bit of fancy, but I also think it just terminates the letter well so that it just doesn't become a gloppy line. So V. Now, if you notice there, we're using the upstroke, V and X. Did you know we read and write capitals only about 2% of the time? Well, that depends. I mean, I don't know if you've ever looked at architectural drawings, but at least in the manual drafting days, it was all uppercase. So I guess it depends. And I used to have an Apple II Plus. That's what the first computer I owned. And how's Mr. And it had it didn't have native lowercase. You had to add a one wire shift key modification. You actually had to add a chip. It was weird. It was fun back those hot rodding days. Uh, long time ago when we was fab. Okay, go ahead and stretch out the hand. Remember that tap, 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 even help you find your native position there. E is kind of interesting. We're going to basically do an L and then add the strokes. Now it's sort of interesting that they start the E from here, L, and then they bring the stroke up. When I was a little more fluid, I actually brought it up for economy of motion. I don't know whether it was the right move or not, but I figured that the top stroke there had already delineated itself, well, at least it indexed where you were by the top of your L shape. So I didn't think I had a need to go up there first to kind of center everything else, because it was already sort of inbuilt in the structure, being it was a terminator with a line. Now here they do put serifs on the I, or you can just do that, which I actually prefer having the serifs just so there's no confusion between the I and the L, and a lowercase l, an uppercase I, and a lowercase l. Kind of funny, don't put the L before the E, considering the E is a modified L shape, essentially. Ooh, kind of everywhere. Yeah, I don't know if you remember on typewriters, old mechanical typewriters, depending on the model, but to save keys and whatnot, they often wouldn't have a 1. You would just use the lowercase l as the 1. I'm a little low, I think, in terms of my little crossbar there. No, stroke 3 lower than the 3 on E. So they're actually saying one way to, look at that. Look at that. I wonder if I'd picked up on that somehow. I guess it's just an aesthetic balance. I wonder if those nice ladies would be willing to do an interview. And onto the eye. Again, if you notice, I actually put my serif down there. I believe you'll see that in the cursive method in a little bit. You'll see some slight changes there. They're very slight. So I wouldn't consider it re-engineering. And also, my habits are very sloppy right now. Okay, now we're on to some curves. The B. Oh, how many people have had trouble with their B about balancing out their hoops, their loopy hoopies, their curves? However it may be. That can be a difficult one, I think. P. I'm always kind of interested if people really consider, I think we at first glance consider R just a modified P, but interesting for rapid writing, though it's the single stroke. Again, there's different styles of writing, so consider that. Again, we can look at strategies of how we want to do stuff. It's not, there's an art to it, there's a technology to it. A body of technique. Technology is in a body of technique. So there, if you notice, we've got on the baseline and actually as a descender. But aesthetically, I kind of wonder if the P and the R, like, should I be thinking about the R as a modified P, or if like that E and an F, where there's actually a difference, which I had not noticed. Um, does it behoove me to think about the um, R as a distinct entity from the P due to single stroke R? Now they have it open. I'm not sure what I think about that. Try it. I'm concerned with myself doing it. That and your mileage may certainly vary on this. That I'll just start getting sloppy. I have seen some hands, and every once in a while, I've done a writing where some things were open and it looked stylized. It looked kind of cool, but it was by accident, and I don't trust myself to, at this point, to responsibly work that kind of interpretation. I'm just not there yet. I like that the height of the caps. Kind of wish I could find. I wonder if I can find some paper, practice paper like that. There's nothing wrong with 3-line paper. I mean, it's, I think we get that. I'm an adult. I should be able to write on, first we start calling it college rule paper. And look at that. I got into my own head and started, I'm going to do that just to get back on track. So I just followed their system instead of what I was used to. O's wide. We get like, I'm an adult and I should be able to write without lines, or on, starts with the basic and then like college rule. Ooh, now it's college level stuff. And then, we start with 3-line paper and then 2-line paper, then college rule. And then, I like a blank sheet, which has its places for sure, and then along with 1/4-inch, graph paper for the engineering types. Funny they gave us this when we haven't done letters or numbers yet, have we? Or have we? As you can tell, yeah, I'm a hurting unit, guys. I'll be fine, but I just got sick head, got cold head. See, float that, correct that. Now that I'm back to my baseline, I'll do that. As you can see, that's gripping too hard. Right there, you see how it's falling apart. So that's about 17 minutes worth of practice. So you know what? That's fine. Let's just keep it easy. Especially, if I'm phoning it in a little bit. I'm not phoning it in because I'm here. But, if that's what I can do today, that's what I can do today. And that's it was showing up and getting it done. And don't worry, there's plenty more practice. So, hey, I really appreciate you stopping by. You can watch these in order, but this is good. So it's a little bit of a dig back for me. Hopefully it's your first time and you're just having a good time. And let's just continue on. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.